to Snap Live, and I'm Rock.
What? It's your boy Snap.
And yes, as you heard. Anyway, look, we here at our podcast, and I want to say thank you for joining us. And today we have a special guest. We have special guests every week, but today it's even special. Why? Because this woman here, Dr. Intimacy, Love, she's going to be discussing those challenges and all those ins and outs of, you know, all that great stuff that you guys like to eat up.
And wonder why some of y'all single. So we gonna get to that.
No, he did not.
Hey, I'm keeping it 100.
She's going to be giving us strategies as well.
Facts.
Dr. Cassandra Sparks Evans. You heard when I was trying. Anyway, I had Evans on my brain. I said Park, and I was trying to put Evans, but Parks Evans. I said that right.
That's all right. That's good. I'm known by both, so it's good.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And I know that you and Snap over here, you know, y'all know each other already.
Yes.
And this should be a very interesting show, of course. You know, I'm sure he has a lot of questions. And you know what? I'm sure everyone that's listening have a lot of questions as well.
Yes.
Well, tell us a little bit about you there for those who don't know you as Miss Parks or Evans.
Okay. Well,
Parks Evans. You got to hyphenate the name.
well, it's new. I'll say that it's new. I was just Dr. Cassandra Parks. I got married 2 years ago. So,
Oh, that's new?
yeah.
Okay, I guess so. You know, I'm going to let you have it because I understand you still in your wedding bliss, child.
I am. I'm still glowing.
That's
Not
good.
me.
No, and I see that, definitely.
But
Go ahead.
I have a company called Let's Learn Love here in Atlanta.
Let's
area.
learn love.
Yes, Let's Learn Love.
Okay.
And it's been around since 2016. And what I do is I teach relationships, dating, and intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
I am also a certified sexual health and wellness educator as well.
So what you talk about STDs and all that other stuff, STIs and stuff?
Yes, that's very important to me.
And where do you see, I'm diving right on in.
Go
Get
ahead.
into it.
I'm
into
here
it.
for it.
Because, you know, I've been in health since for some time, since 92.
Mhm.
And the thing here is that it's important to have a person like yourself because you need to educate those. Even, especially in marriages, I find those you see a lot of passing of things that shouldn't be passed on in a marriage. Do you have a lot of those discussions in relationships with concerning those with STIs and STDs and, you know, in health?
Yes, unfortunately I do.
Yeah.
Especially if there's, infidelity going on.
Yeah.
They bring it back to the family.
Yeah.
And not only that, a lot of people don't realize that the HIV rate is going up with our elders.
Mm.
Yeah.
With the elders.
With the elders.
But instead of the way we're doing, these young kids out here just humping, just doing their
Listen
thing.
to him. He said, wait, right.
But you know, if you think because they're doing it more.
He's there humping. How you hear many times you hear that word humping?
We old school.
We old school. So.
I know. Go ahead.
But the thing is, we're at a certain age and we don't think we can get pregnant anymore.
Wow.
So we're not using protection as much. And now, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are divorced in that demographic.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, I'm going to go get my cougar on,
Yeah.
and get something.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
or, somebody's being a sugar daddy.
Go get my swag on.
Yeah. And bringing something, and then they have a friend that is their age,
Mhm.
and they're just swapping stuff back and forth.
You know, you've been hearing on the I don't watch the news, but of course the internet is our news, and you still have to do the research once you find out that information. Even that is a lie too. Sometimes they manipulate it.
Mhm.
But in this case here, there's a man. I forget his name, but married. He gave his wife has been sick for some years with cancer. Turns out that's not what was killing her. It was AIDS. He gave her knowingly he had AIDS. He has AIDS, and knowingly giving it to her. So he's in jail right now because of that. Because that's intentionally you gave it to her.
Mhm.
That's murder.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is recent.
Is AIDS on a rise? As if you're in that field?
No, not as much because we have great medications now. We
Gotta be
also
seen and
have
advertised.
yes, and we also have PrEP. PrEP is very important, especially in the African community.
What's PrEP?
African American
What's that?
community.
Yeah.
What it is a preventative from getting HIV.
PrEP. PREP. That's an acronym for something?
It is, but it's the medicine and everything else.
Okay,
But I
okay.
just say PrEP. That's
Got it.
easier for
Okay.
people to remember because when they go to their their doctors, they can go and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about PrEP? And PrEP is good for, it was made for males.
Okay.
Those that identify as male
okay.
cannot sometimes use it because it's not genetically for them, if that makes sense.
It's not genetically for
it, like
for who?
Those that are not that
That's not a man
that was born.
Oh, you're talking about
that was not designated male at birth. I'll say it like that. I'm trying to be
whatever. Hey, no, it's a man. You're a man.
Say it.
Reproductive. Okay, go on.
Well, for me, it's important to be inclusive. So.
I understand. I get it.
But PrEP is very good because it is a preventative measure. And if you are interested in PrEP, go to your doctor, go to your board of health, and get some information about it.
PrEP is for someone that
it's for males.
No. Right. It's for males, but you're talking about a man that does not have HIV or does have HIV?
That does not.
Oh, okay.
And
what is it? Is this medication?
Yes, it's a preventative measure. So you won't get HIV. Yes.
Oh, my bad. I thought she said medicine. So I'm like, okay, how do you
you get your counseling with it. You also have to still pretty much engage in safe sex, but it takes the percentage out of actually catching HIV if you do engage in.
It's like a plan B for a woman.
No.
That's how it reminds me of you taking it so you don't get HIV. When you get for a plan B, you take it because so you don't get pregnant. That's what I'm saying. That's how I think about it. Okay.
Okay. If you want to look at it like that, yes, you can. You put it like that. But
so because you said a key word and it's hard to say because we grew up in the old school.
Right.
For you, since you're in this field, what is safe sex?
No sex.
No, you know what I'm saying?
No sex.
What is safe sex? Because you don't even hear the usage of condoms that much anymore.
Right.
And it's like people just dive.
Oh, they be throwing it on it. I see it on commercials all the time, but you don't actually see it.
Now back in the day, it was out there a lot.
Right.
But now you don't even.
You as far as advertisement, commercializing it, yeah, I suppose.
Well, again, with the advance of medication for HIV and AIDS, it has lessened. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still be using contraceptives and using safe sex because we still have a lot of STIs, STDs. We have some things that are now almost resistant to medication.
You got that right.
So we need to be more careful. We need to ask more about our sexual partners. We need to be more.
And I was just about to throw this dart. They for a man, at least for my males out there, a woman says, "I don't like condoms. I'm allergic to condoms." What should he do at that time? What should he get? So he, of course, he's probably gonna have sex regardless. But a lot of women will say, "Oh, I'm allergic to latex condoms."
And most women are, and most people are allergic to latex.
So as a, I would say a hunter, shouldn't she have something to replace it?
Yes.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
I will agree.
It's everybody's responsibility to have safe sex. Yeah. So if she knows that she's allergic to latex, she needs to be using something that is compatible with her and her skin type.
Now,
because I find a lot of women don't have the necessary for things like that. It's like the male has to come prepared for it in some incidents. But do you find more women should have these things available? Because a lot of women don't.
Yes, they should.
And the first question is, well, I don't do it that much. Well, I can't tell you what.
Well, I know there's a female condom.
Yes.
Now, did I have this conversation with you, LA? Okay, we did. It was last week. And I was like, well, how do you put... Wait, it doesn't look right. I mean, it's put it on like a diaphragm, and then the other part just comes out and it just sticks out there like that. So it's just hanging out. Okay, I don't know.
It's like a...
But
I would say it's a condom that has structure to it.
Gotcha.
That's the best way that I can
because to me, my thing is, soon you're touching pubic hair to pubic hair, genital, you know what I'm saying?
That's why you get the grass cut.
Okay. You know what?
gotta get grass cut.
But it's stuff do attach to you when you have hair, pubic hairs, to your hairs and stuff like that. I'm done. I'm so over this.
No, we need to because people You know,
they need to know. It is
It's
important. I'm saying I'm done. It's scary to me.
Because you know, in situations we know we do have single parents out there who have daughters, who have sons, and they're to me
just say no.
It's hard.
I'm just saying.
It's hard, but you still got to prepare your child for it. You tell your child no early, they're gonna go sneak out this because why are they telling me no?
I agree. No, I agree, and I'm gonna tell you why. No. And everybody always like to show you the pictures, but they don't think it's going to happen to them. You know, like, okay, let's take you to somewhere where it is actually happening. Yes. It's a very scary thing.
Yes.
Very scary. Intestines falling out. I don't know. It's just, okay. That would make me say no.
It is. Okay. It's a lot that goes on, but it is like Snap said, it is very important to have these conversations. Yes. And especially with males. Or anybody who identifies as male and they have children, especially daughters, they need to know this information because who's going to give it to them?
Because as a male, all I know is condoms.
Right.
So what do I teach my daughter as I'm the only parent? You know, what's the other?
I just told your son.
Yeah, I was talking about my son, but also my daughter is because, you know what I'm saying? I don't want
there's another dude out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably just worse. So, we want to make sure, I want to make sure that I educate and tell her the right thing and just not just tell her to say no. Right. Because when we tell our kids no and we rebel, that's when they sneak around. And
I definitely opposite. I definitely agree with that. Telling them no is not a good. I know it's not.
I gotta explain.
I remember when I was 16 or 14. Yeah, my grandmother. We didn't talk about. She was like, "Don't come in with no babies."
Yeah.
What?
You say don't come in here, but what?
Why?
I know.
Steps it for you.
Exactly. So she from the South, and she just tried her best, and all I know is that, and I had to learn from other people. So and I had to get the information. But now today there's so much more information. It's out there, especially with the internet and so on. My thing is go old school. Take them to a hospital, to an AIDS patient, and let them see. Let's be real, because this can be you.
And not only that, most of us know somebody who has HIV in their family.
Yeah,
let's not front.
I had somebody pass with AIDS way back in the day.
That's how I really got into sexual education, was because I had an uncle that was openly bisexual, but more on the gay side, and actually ended up catching HIV. Yeah. And he was one of my favorite uncles, and this was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
So it opened my eyes a lot, and I was like, why are we not talking about this?
Right, exactly.
I was like, my generation doesn't know about this. We don't know anything. My mother told me once about a tampon that was like, it was medicine, and a pad that was medicine. And then I tore up a whole box of pads trying to figure out how I take it.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be upfront with your family.
You do.
And you expect them to not do nothing, but where are they going to learn it if they don't know from you?
Do you think that because of the culture or this our particular human race, that they, just like with the psyche, they don't talk about those things? Is that also an issue?
I think a lot of it stems from the big mamas telling us, don't let nobody know what our business is outside this house.
Yeah, and that's the problem today.
And that's why we don't talk about mental health. That's why we don't talk about issues that go on in our family.
Big mama don't want nobody to know that I got it.
Right.
Or our family got it, because then we're going to be talked about.
Right.
And I don't want nobody talking about
exactly.
it. So keep the secret.
So it's still going, it's still the same.
So it's still the same. And we have to change that narrative. We have to talk about it. We have to put this out to the forefront.
Okay. Now, being that my next question basically would be, what are the strategies that you feel for building trust in relationships?
That's a good one. When we're babies, what do we rely on our parents for, or whoever's taking care of us?
Nursing us, like making sure we eat.
Food, clothes, roof over my head, that kind of thing. Feed me, mommy.
Supposed to talk.
It's the same thing, except in different ways. We're getting fed. We're getting fed with what conversation?
Okay. With what conversations?
With all conversations.
Oh, yes.
Because that's how we build trust. Intimacy,
basically. Just
intimacy is really trust. Who do we trust? We have intimate relationships all the time. We have them at work.
Yes.
Because guess what? If we don't trust our coworker to do their part, that's gonna
mess the business up or
that's gonna mess you up. You know, you expect these lights to be on when you're doing your podcast.
Yeah, I trust LA. I gotta try. I have to trust him.
So that's
no, I have to, because that sounds forced. I don't know.
But see, that's an intimate relationship.
Yes, exactly.
That's a trusting thing. So when we talk about intimacy, we not just talk about physical intimacy, and that's what most people go to. So when we talk about building and trusting, that we carry these through any kind of relationship we actually have.
Right.
So trust, like we said, nourishment, we're feeding through conversation. We have to know about each other. We have to know how each other moves. We have to know our dynamics.
Understanding. Always say understanding.
Understanding.
Right.
So that's the communication part. You know, the trust part comes in. Okay, well, I communicated to you that I need you to have this by Friday.
Right.
Are we gonna have it by Friday?
We better.
But if not, then communicate. It's gonna be a little bit late. Don't ditch and
So it
ghost me.
Right. It has to be a back and forth. So that's how intimacy is built.
Yeah, just like when I be texting him or email him, I need you to go ahead and get the questions, and then you don't come back to me. And then
further question is so I have, because is communication is a key, but what if the other side, you know, brings, I'm gonna say, what the past relationship, and it's hard for her, you know, hard for her to trust. How can a person have patience and still, you know, stick with that?
What you're saying is like you're saying the has traumas from past relationships.
Have trauma-based relationships. I'm not that person, but I want to leave. You feel what I'm saying? It's not, well, you're not understanding me or knowing me.
I just want to make sure I understand what you said.
But it's her question.
Negro, I'm sitting here asking you, so I understand it too. Okay, I got you. You're saying bringing from past relationships into the current situation, and then you got to be patient with me.
Do I have to? Yeah, exactly, Ms. Parks. Good job.
You get on my nerves.
Well, the thing about that is this.
Go ahead.
We need to heal before we move on.
Got that right.
Gotcha.
So when we end a relationship, there's things that we need to do. And that's why we have exit interviews at work.
Yes.
So what did we do wrong?
Yes.
Let's start with low pay, ignorant people, blah blah blah.
How often we have exit interviews? I don't know. I mean, like, really. Yeah, I hear you.
In reality, though, I want you to take the whole premise of a exit interview that a job would give you and apply it to your life.
I agree.
You know, what did I do wrong? We always think that we're perfect, but we're not.
You do wrong, and if you're not communicating, I won't. Let me know what I do wrong, so I won't either repeat myself or do it in the next position.
Right. Hey, how often do you have? I go to my ex-mate, and I'm like, okay, is he going to sit down and actually have this conversation with me?
But actually, you've already had the conversation.
What do you mean?
You've had it many times.
Oh, yeah. You mean when I complained and talked about? Right, yeah. Okay.
You know, we need to do this.
Yes, you're right.
We have to do that.
Okay.
You don't talk to me in an
interview, so
but what I meant was just take all those questions and apply it to what your situation was.
Because that's more to me. It's in the dating process, the honeymoon part. When you ask type of those questions, you know.
The 3-month rule. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
90 days. Yeah.
So all right. So as a person coming out of a relationship, what you think is, I'm gonna say probably 90 days, but probably less, is a good time to date again. You know, to hear from what's a good time limit a person should wait to even just date again.
Well,
because a lot of people go quick.
Yes, and that's not a good thing. No, and I'm gonna tell you what we need to do. Every time we unfortunately enter or exit a relationship, we need to think about what our boundaries are. We need to think about what we want out of a relationship, because each relationship is different depending on where we are in our life.
Correct.
So we need to figure out what we need in our relationship at that very point. Gotcha. So that's what you need to figure out. What are my boundaries? What are my beliefs? You know, do I still believe that, you know, a man should take out trash? Or do I believe the trash just gets taken out when it's full? You know, it sounds dumb, but those are the really things that you have to think about, because if you move in with a person,
you have to know.
What are you gonna say? Well, I think that, you know, you need to do the trash. And as a man, do you feel like, or, you know, the dominant role, do you feel like, well, you just as capable too? then it's a clash. But you never talked about it.
It's funny because I teach my daughter. I told her there's 3 things that a woman doesn't do if she has a man, and I always told her, you don't take out the trash, you don't put gas in your car, you don't wash your car. Those are the 3 things. If you got a man, that's really supposed to be his job. I mean,
that ain't laughing.
I teach her that. If you got a man, that's what so, and that's me for dating. So if I see a woman, she pump a gas, she ain't got no man. So I'm pulling up on her.
But see, those are the things that we have to take into account when we go into relationships.
Correct.
Because when your daughter goes into a relationship, she's going to be like, hey, my dad told me 3 things that a man is supposed to do. Right. That's going to be her litmus.
That's her limit. That's her. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So she going to, no. 2 out the 3.
I got you. Got a possible.
You gave her a good foundation.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what we have to realize. We have to realize what we were taught and how it affected us. Some was good, some was bad. Like my dad was an alcoholic, and I know I don't want nothing to deal with that.
Correct.
And I'm on the other spectrum where I didn't have a man in my house. I'm talking as a female. So you just didn't have a man to show me anything. Yeah.
So your beliefs are a little bit different than mine because I grew up with a man in the house, even though we had our own separate issues.
Right.
But each household is different. And that's something else that we have to do too. We have to respect how somebody was
grown up or raised. Exactly. Yes.
And then you have to take into account what they were taught and how they reacted to that, because that tells a lot about a person.
Correct.
Well, I learned as time went on what I will not do and such and such. Well, that's through relationships.
Right.
So what you talked about earlier.
Right. So you start picking and choosing, oh, this didn't work. I need to.
Yeah.
Oh, this works. Very good.
That works, yes.
Throw some more. So that's what it is. And that's why after every relationship, you need to evaluate what was well and what was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Healing.
And healing.
I think a lot of us, we heal with the exception of somebody else. So I think that's why we rush into, relationships and friends, because we're so used to having someone, but it's not. It was hard for me because most of my teenage years and a little bit of my 20s, I was in deep relationships, 12 and 7. But now as I got older, it's more, now I know since those 2 relationships on what I want and what I need, and in a relationship when I'm dating, it's like red flags. When I see the red flag, it's like, but am I willing to keep it? Am I willing to accept it? So maybe we can change and talk about it. But when situations don't change, how can you? Because people feel like you're attacking them when you're talking to them. So what's the best way, like to conversate with somebody when they feel like you're attacking them? Are they scared, or they're putting their shield up?
Well, there's a couple of times where you shouldn't make it a powder cake. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in the middle of a disagreement, I have a thing called fighting fair. And one of the main things is stay on topic. Whatever that was that you're talking about, stay on that. Don't talk about something that happened 2 weeks ago, 4 months ago, that could happen 3 years from now. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you come to somebody, come to them with a issue and a solution.
Gotta have a solution. Gotcha. Most people just talk about the doggone conflict.
I don't like that.
Right.
And versus just saying, okay, well, how can we solve this?
Right. I don't know. I just don't like it.
That's not good enough.
And that's the thing, so how are we going to have counterpoints? So if you come with a solution, you have a counterpoint. Now, that's not saying that person's going to take you up on it.
Right.
But it gives you a point to start talking back and forth. Well, I don't like doing dishes every day, but I'll do them Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So if you doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you doing them by hand or you doing them with dishwasher? You know what I'm saying? So it gives you a chance to talk about it. And something else that we should, and it's ironic, never do is say never.
Yes.
Because that's going to be accusatory to that person automatically. They're going to be like, hey, whoa. It's going to be a while that goes down. So try not to say that, say,
never say I never.
So keep never out the.
Oh no, you never do
never,
such and such.
Never say never. And
never say never.
Right.
Because that is going.
You never. I never. Don't say never.
Yeah.
So can I say you haven't did that? Is that better? Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Hey, listen. I
would say
tips.
Yeah. Something I would say is more likely than not.
Okay.
That will happen.
Well,
because it gives probability at that time. It gives you an out. It's like the Braves. We 70 games, so we're likely to go.
Never,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but if you say they never lose, that's not true because they only got 70 games.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So if you use probability, it doesn't feel so like you're attacking that person.
Gotcha.
Well, but it gets your point across.
Yes. And I noticed that I have learned, basically that and also have done where, when you're having a discussion, you don't, like you say, being accusatory, where I'm going to talk about I'm talking about me. You have to be held accountable. Because while we having this conversation in the first place, because I'm not having it by myself,
right?
That's why we talking about this. Right. Don't ever point your finger at the person. Let's talk about what I'm doing. Okay, I need to look at this. I need to look at that. And yeah, I don't say, well, you never such and such. When in fact was, wait a minute now, when did you ever or never? So I think that you think that some of that could be this trauma there.
Yes. A lot of it is trauma. And one thing that, if y'all don't get nothing else out of this today, is have grace with people.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Have grace.
Yes.
Because you want somebody to have grace with you. And that's with any relationship.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? We all have bad days. We all have good days. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But sometimes your good day is somebody's off day.
Could be, yeah.
And even though we try to be what we want, what we need, what we gotta have, you gotta remember sometimes that somebody else is having a bad day.
In a sense of that, what you think are some of the red flags that people should look for when it comes to a potential relationship or something, since we on that, topic of trauma and stuff, what you think are definitely top 5 red flags?
Knowing that they have an abusive past.
Themselves. We're not talking about the other party.
Yes. Now, what that can do is, if you've been in an abusive relationship, you'll be drawn to abusive people unless you get your therapy and your help. Why? Because it's familiar to you. That's what you know. If I need to wash the floor by 9 o'clock, sometimes we're unintentionally programmed for that. And that's why we have to get our therapy, and we got to get that out. We got to be healthy. But abuse on both sides, basically, is a red flag.
And I have to I always take it back to the spirit, okay? Because spirit knows another spirit. And if you or a law of attraction. So you're going to draw whatever's going on with you, whatever's carrying on with you, that's exactly what you're drawing in. You are how you think, and so on, and what you speak out. So I guess with that said, I had to ask you a question about there was something I saw. A young woman was talking about it. She brought it out on TikTok. I don't know her name. I don't remember her name. But anyway, she's absolutely right. Being in health, just like yourself, you see more men in nursing homes, and they're actually dying alone. So with that said, it's because of their behaviors. They want to get all the pussy they can. They treat everybody wrong, and the women in their life and so on, and their children, and they're wondering why they're dying alone.
So is that
and we see that a lot. This has been going on. It keeps going. I've been in health, and I see it too. And I've been in nursing homes, more than one. And other people are saying that we're not in the same nursing home, so apparently it's something it's a continuing thing.
Now, think about it. Let's go all the way back.
Yes, we can.
Let's go back. Think about the era that those people were in.
You're right.
And think about their parents. But like my grandfather was born in the late 1800s.
Okay.
Like 1896.
Yeah. Okay.
My daddy was 41 when I was born. So I had old people.
Yeah.
Old people. Like my grandfather was one generation from slavery. Like for real.
I hear it. I get it.
So when I talked to him, his mentality was we couldn't say anything. We had to keep all our emotions in.
Yeah.
That's where we tell men don't cry.
That's right.
Toughen up.
Right.
Yeah.
Boys don't cry. And that's wrong.
It is.
Because why? Crying is a natural emotion.
Yes, it is.
You let it out.
Because if you're a baby, if the baby don't cry, you're going to think something wrong with it.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So being that he was from slavery, he couldn't tell anybody because he didn't want massa. This was my great-grandfather, massa, knowing what was going on with him. So he kept everything.
Exactly.
And it was a generational thing.
I get it.
He didn't know how to express it because he's so used to not doing it. He don't know how to.
Right. So with that causes internal anger.
Yeah.
So what do? You're beating on your wife because you can't say nothing because they're holding you down. It's
and you know something's in him. And
okay.
So basically, so those are people, I guess, being haunted from their past.
That's why we say
until you said it.
It's our generation. That's why we have to break them curses.
Yes. Exact generational curses. Well, we went that far back. Can we go a little further down the line, please? Because apparently, I mean, my dad is only 73. Okay, and even younger, 40s, 50s, 30s, they still do it. It's in our DNA.
We still tell boys to this day, boys don't cry. Boys are tough.
People are still saying that?
Yes. It's on the commercials. It's on commercials.
I told you I don't watch TV.
On commercials.
And me being a parent, I tell my son, well, when he cry, you stop crying. You cry. I do that.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not the toughness. It's like, I ain't hurt you yet. To me, crying is you really hurt. You just probably crying. I mean, I understand your feelings are hurt.
Right.
But, you pinch you bleeding, and you won't cry. But if I'm saying words to you, but we are at that time mentally abusing them because that's why they're crying.
Right.
But like you said, but now now that's making sense of it's more. Don't you cry. But
like someone has said that if you don't let that man cry, he beating on something. And you have to allow them to just do that. It's okay to do that. And like you said, it's because if master see that you're doing such and such, you get more beaten because you're doing that. So, and that's a scary thing because that's in our generation and that's not good. And when you break it, it starts with you.
Yes. It needs to break now. And I can honestly say I'm very transparent. I told my son that, and he had issues with that. He has a therapist. And he had to go talk to people. He was afraid of me because I was that mom coming from the 70s. I got beat with Hot Wheel tracks. You will too. You know what I'm saying? And that's not necessarily a good thing. No. And I had to, being in mental health, when I found that out that I was doing that to my son, it crushed me. I said, I'm doing the same thing that I'm trying to help people with.
And sometimes it's hard to do that. It's because we're used to it, and we'll try to break it. But at that time, our minds just goes back to who we are, and we just do it. So my question is what do you think? What's a good age that you think children should be in therapy early? At an early age?
Yes. I do. I think that children need to be able to talk to somebody else other than their parents in a way that is healthy for them. I think because teachers not necessarily because they don't have that training, but they need to go in. Therapy doesn't have to be when something's in trouble.
Right.
It's like if you're a Christian prayer,
Please.
You don't pray when you're in trouble.
Your prayer don't even reach that ceiling.
Anyway, some people do. They pray when, oh God, help me up out of this.
Right.
The police behind them.
But
they don't get up and say,
I ain't gonna do
thank
this
you,
no
God.
more.
I ain't gonna do this no more.
Please don't let her be
I'm
pregnant.
gonna stop drinking, Lord, if you just let me get by this day.
Right. Prayer should be all the time.
Correct.
So it's the same thing with therapy. You know, I tell people you can have prayer and therapy too.
That's right.
You can have Jesus and a therapist. It's okay.
Especially so what you think is a good age for a child?
It could be. It's actually any age, because you can have therapy with a child through coloring, through playtime.
As long as
because you're watching how they react to certain things, like they did when with the dolls back in the day, and that's still a popular video actually, where the black children. I hate using that word black because it's okay. Look, our Nubian children, were introduced with the black doll and the white doll, but they didn't like the black doll because they beat it or whatever. But the white doll, it was nice, it was friendly, and so on. So today, it's actually the same way, where even what we call as colorism, even then and now.
Mm-hmm. So I would recommend, as long as they can communicate,
Gotcha.
And they can. And you can communicate with them, and they can tell you what they need. They could be three.
Hey, so even 2.
Yeah, 3-year-olds I know can give you the business with questions.
Some of them, yeah.
You be like, Lord Jesus.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, even I have seen some 2-year-olds, especially today. These kids, these COVID babies. I'm like, what the world? You know, they're talking and everything before they school. So it's
okay, but we need to increase our self-worth and our self-love to them, because we don't teach that.
I think what is because the parent doesn't even have healing. That's you are a product of your environment.
And some parents, they don't know. They don't know. It's like somebody asked me, well, if you need anything, let me know. And I was like, you never get that. It's because I grew up in the era where if I want it, I went and got it. And if I can't get it, then I wouldn't ask. I don't know how to ask nobody for something.
And that's the same thing with me. The same thing with me. My thing is, but I have a different outlook on that one, because when you say that, you're just saying it because it's the right thing to say, when I know you don't mean that. So I don't ask you.
But you know what? You better start taking up people on their offers.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Because you know why?
Yeah.
Because that's a blessing to them.
But to me, if you offer me, I'm gonna take it. But I have a problem saying, I guess I need this, or can I have, or can I get?
And that's an issue too, though.
But when I'm afraid to ask because I have been rejected.
Yes.
See, I have a different response. You know what I'm saying? That's for me.
Right. But when I tell people that,
do we get our therapy now?
When I tell people that, I tell them everybody is an individual. You wouldn't want anybody to lump you with another group. So you give everybody, even in relationships, you give everybody a clean slate.
I agree.
And you have to, because if you don't, that's that baggage. You're holding on to stuff. You can't have 3,000 things in your hand if you're trying to reach for the moon.
Right.
Message.
Because if you give the visual, you got 3,000 in this hand and you way down, you cannot reach that moon. It's just weighing down. Yeah, I get it. The other hand.
So if somebody's got the moon for you, and you
gotta let that go.
Yes.
So you can be light.
So since we're on that, what is the best way, or some effective ways to handle conflicts and disagreements in a relationship? What's the best way, besides just that's communication probably one, but what other ways?
Well, we started talking about fighting fair.
Yeah.
So again, don't go to nobody with a problem unless you have a solution, and make sure it's a sensible solution.
Make sure it makes sense.
And the test is, would you do it?
Right. If you're not going to do it, why would you ask someone else to do it?
So if you're not going to do it, don't ask nobody else to do no dumb
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
2, if you are really in a moment where you feel like you're going to be extremely angry and say something that you don't need to say,
don't say it.
Don't say it.
Right. Exactly. Because
you can't take those words back.
No, you can't.
And there's been plenty of times, and I had to learn this the hard way. I said some real foul stuff. This is growth. This is growth.
I'm gonna raise my, because we talked about this on the other show. I think I had an incident at my home, and it's because I had to learn to put the water on, and what I mean by that is when either I'm all in or I'm all out. When I'm a hot 38, I'll say it. You know, you hurt my feelings. I'm gonna put them words back out. You know, or when I'm out, I don't want to put it, but I have to learn to put the cold water on. So just think about it first before I say it. Because, you know, I lost friendships, relationships based on because of what I said. But you said something to me, but you took me out of my element, which, you know, so I agree on that where I shouldn't have said it, but you said it to me, I'm going to say it to you. You hurt my friends, I'm hurting you. But I don't think that's
hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And that moment that you take to get yourself together can be detrimental.
Sometimes sorry, it's not enough to bring it back.
And I just told a couple, I did some premarital coaching this week. There's a difference when we apologize. Yes. And you have to be a bigger person to apologize. Because not only that, it helps clear your conscience. And it helps repair the other person's trust and faith in you. Because whether you want to believe it or not, there's only so many times you're going to call somebody a bitch or hoe or something, and they're going to be all right with that.
Right.
So what you have to do is you have to take that moment and think about what you're saying.
Right.
And take yourself out of that situation.
Yes.
How do you get someone to say, I'm sorry, and they won't say it? Like, like me, I can say it. If I say it, I felt I hurt somebody who I really love.
Right.
I might say my bag. My bag is different from I'm sorry.
Right. It's totally
different.
Now, if somebody says,
my fault.
Sorry.
That's not genuine.
What is that? If you say, I'm sorry means what? I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings, but I'm not sorry about what
I'm not sorry what I said. That's me.
And then there's, I apologize. That means I'm taking accountability.
What's the difference? Okay.
Yeah.
I understand that I hurt you, and I'm trying to repair our relationship.
But I didn't mean what I said. Is that a good way? Because I'll say I'm sorry, but I meant what I said.
Well, then you can just say I'm sorry. Because if you say anything, like if you put but after anything, you negate everything that's in the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say that all the time. Never say but.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's like saying when you say I love you, but when you like, so you don't love me then. Like, why would you say it? You should have just said I love you and left it alone.
It's like mathematics. It's greater than or equal to.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
All that
1 minus 1.
Right.
Damn. You know, so yeah.
But when you say I'm sorry, you have to understand.
I mean, if I say it.
But you have to understand that the person that's receiving that may not understand what you're trying to say. So they may shut that down, period. And then that also continues our conflict.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have to take that. You have to say, hey, you know, I messed up. They don't have to take my apology.
But I said it and got mine off the tap, so I'm good on my end.
So you're going to have to take it on the chin. If they be like,
Deuce.
They're not receiving
it.
Yeah. Really, they're really not receiving it. Yeah. They're not. But being like you said, using the words I apologize. That's saying I'm accountable for what I did on my end, and that is more powerful than saying I'm sorry, because I know throughout the years when you say I'm sorry, that's a negative word. I take that word it's really a negative word, because you really don't. It doesn't take the sting out of it at all. Apologize, saying I'm accountable. I hold my end what I did to you, okay, and leave it there. That's it.
So from a man to a woman, a man that apologizes, a man that cries. What y'all feel about that? In that sense, is he weak? Is he soft?
No.
You feel what I'm saying? You know, a lot of men won't do that is because they're afraid of what that woman will think of them.
And see that
they're not ready to be in relationships, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, and not only that, that's a red flag right there.
What?
Because if she's not allowing you to cry, that means that she has issues with her own self.
Okay.
Why are you upset because he's crying? What makes him weak because he's crying? He's trying to show emotion. Isn't that what you wanted? Isn't that what you asked for?
Exactly.
I want a man who is sensitive. So when he start crying, now all of a sudden you calling him all kinds of names, and what makes you think that that is appropriate?
Correct.
So then that's a red flag.
Yeah. But from with her, you saying,
With her.
or in any relationship, basically, when someone, why you crying? Yeah, you crying? Like, what is that? Yeah.
Then go ahead and tell their friend, oh, he was crying.
And see, she's immature.
Yes.
She has issues in herself.
Walk away.
That she needs to deal with. So
I agree.
My husband, you know, God bless him, he tries to be strong. I've only seen him cry like at his mom's funeral. His best friend passed away. You know, he's one of those. But if he turned around and cried because he was watching Benji or something, I'm be like, okay.
Because I cry movies real quick.
But you know, that shows
that's only my tear too.
And like I said, that's a healthy thing that shows emotion. Like when my son starts crying, I'll be like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's okay. Go in your room, get your moment out.
Yeah.
And when you come back, we'll talk about it if you want it. If not, we'll go on.
That's right. It's okay to cry.
It's okay to cry.
Like I said, you crying, man, you don't let that man cry.
Because I know a lot of women are probably watching, but you know, our men are out here and like, you know, we don't know how. You know, like I said, I always say we was raised right, but just taught wrong, you know, in certain situations like that, because our moms didn't know. And for one thing, our moms, a lot of us in single homes, don't know how to raise a man. So there's
again, generational.
So there's certain things that, you know, we need to ask and we need to know, and stop being so soft or so hard. So, you know, of course, when we go into relationships, we want the perfect relationship. We want to make sure everything is good, make sure the do's and the don'ts. So that's why, you know, when I ask that, when things happen, how do we take the offense, the offense of when we getting attacked by a woman? How should we handle it as men?
You shouldn't do anything because that shows her immaturity. At that point, she's trying to poke the bear.
Yep.
You gonna let her poke the bear, or you gonna stand up and be like, I'm not even dealing with that, because that's immature behavior.
It is.
And if you're allowing that immature behavior to affect you, then you need to go and figure out what's going on with you. That she's
poking. You hear that?
And you're letting her. You know what I'm saying? We grown ass people. We got stuff to do. I got to pay mortgage. I got a job. I got to get these 3, 4, 5, 7 kids through school. I don't have time for somebody who's going to keep poking a bear.
Exactly.
Either you gonna ride along with me and do it, or we gonna
anyone that comes in a relationship, I believe. Do you believe, of course, is to enhance the relationship?
It's supposed to.
You should not be coming in to make it worse. Like, wait a minute, if it's making me doubt and making me question, like, whoa, and I got screw face, automatically I'd be like, wait, hold on, you gotta go. As soon as I get that,
the relationship is more. I'm looking for your weakness and trying to make it strong. I'm not trying to look at your weakness and beat it up. I'm trying to, whatever your weakness is, let's make that better. And I hope you're doing the same thing.
So are you asking those kind of questions?
I do.
You're looking for their weakness?
I mean, when we talk, you'll know certain strength. That's why you ask questions. You know what I'm saying? So,
I need to know if you got my back. That's what I need to know.
Well, I mean, I can have your back in that.
Damn it, I'm gonna see the weakness, because I just need to know what you gonna do. And if I don't, you know,
I mean, what's having your back? But
having my back is okay when if I, God forbid, lose a job, if I need your help, and I don't know, just I need your help in something.
It should be,
but it's not.
Exactly. So
let me tell you, when I left the school system, and I was going to do this full time, it was with my husband, but he was my boyfriend at that time. He's like, I want to quit your job. I'm like.
He said, "Go on and quit your job."
That's good. I tell somebody that you don't even got to work. When my date complains, I don't want to work here. I don't. Quit. I got you. I got you until you.
And see, that's what he.
I don't want to do it. I don't trust you. If I'm telling you to do it, do it. Why would I?
But as a woman,
so
we've been let down so many times. So it's a power struggle.
How was it when you did it?
It was scary.
Yes.
It was very scary. I'm not going to lie. It was sometimes I hyperventilated when I turned in that paperwork and they sent me that final thing talking about, well, you can get COBRA. I was like, I don't have no health insurance, Lord Jesus. You know, because I was taught to be corporate, take care of myself. Even though my mother was a serial entrepreneur, she had all these businesses. I seen it. And I grew up with that. And I knew the heartache that comes with that.
Yeah.
So when he told me to quit, I was like, ooh, it's gonna be days I don't have no money. I can't get my nails done no more. I'm gonna have to ask you for gas. Oh, this a bull. I was like, ooh, what is the greater good here? But I did it.
Right. Okay. How?
But sometimes you have to stand out on faith. And that's what I was telling you. You can't treat everybody the same. Because there's been times where the dudes before have been like, go on and quit your job. Not what it did. And I'd be like, and they
ain't do nothing.
Nothing. Look, hello?
I didn't tell you to go and do that.
Right. You know,
maybe you just said.
Right.
Make you sound like you crazy.
So when it's those things that we have to do with trust and that, like I said, I'm very transparent. So when I'm telling you these are things that I've gone through. You know, I'm not going to just sit up and be like, I'm just telling you stuff. No, I've been through the trenches.
Right.
And people tell you I'm a Decatur girl, so I have a whole different mentality.
Yes.
You know, I'm different. I'm built different. My best friend, I have a male best friend. He was like, "You just built different." Saying, I know that, but you know, those are the things that I had to learn to give up about myself in order to make a cohesive marriage. And those are the things that I want.
You didn't lose yourself, though.
I didn't. I didn't. And I lost myself with my last marriage because he was a serial cheater. So I felt no self-worth, no self-esteem. Why is he cheating? And that's how I kind of got into this too, because I was like, okay, what am I doing? Because this is my second marriage.
Right.
And he's cheating on me. Am I a prude? Am I this? Am I that? So I started doing some introspecting about myself.
Questioning yourself.
And then when I got through with all that, I was like, I'm not as bad as I thought, but I can stay in a tune-up. So
how can people get in contact with you if they want to get advice or, you know?
Where can they find you?
Everywhere, no.
So, girl.
Let'sLearnLove.com.
Let's Learn
Love. I'm everywhere. I'm talking everywhere. Yes.
Okay, let's learn. Let's L-E-T-S. Okay, let's learn love.com. And are you on IG?
Yes.
What's the name?
IG.
Cassandra M. Parks or
Cassandra M. Parks?
Yes.
Okay.
M as in Mary.
Uh-huh.
Or you can find the actual company, How to Learn Love.
How to Learn Love.
Yes, because I had Let's Learn Love and they took my account and it was like, yeah.
Okay, so How
to Learn Love.
Okay.
Or me, if you want to see me and my shenanigans, Cassandra M. Parks.
All right.
That's on IG.
IG.
Okay. Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, but that's Let's Learn Love. But I don't do too much on TikTok. I'm still old school.
TikTok queen.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying.
She'll call you and let you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there, but I'm still old school.
That is fine. No, why we keep saying old school?
Well, we old school.
No, well, I guess because this particular generation is like, oh, you old school. Like, no, it's called wisdom.
Yes,
and you need to take that.
Okay, yes. OG, you might slick it down. We want to thank you, Cassandra Parks.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And shameless plug, get my book on Amazon, Effing After 50.
All right, y'all know what it is, man.
What was it again?
Effing After 50.
You said
Effing After 50.
Oh, effing. You had to announce it. Okay. Effing after 50.
After 50.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I have an accent and it's
no
hard.
accent. No.
No.
We understood what you said.
Effing after 50, and that is on Amazon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For those who don't take those gas station pills and Viagra. So until next week, man. Like I said, we have Gemini Shizzy next week. In the following, we have to wrap up our season. We have Tito Montana, Final Score Entertainment. CEOs come on through. So
any Thurst Thoughts?
Thurst Thoughts. I'm just gonna say, hey, as you wake up every day, there's no book on life. There's no school in life. Get up and find your purpose, find your gift, run it. Everybody's not blessed to do the same thing. Find out what you're blessed at and run it. Love y'all.
Stay being beautiful, me. We like Snap said. See you next week. This is Rock and Snap Live.
What? Bang.